We're on the streets for something like 8 years now. We've had 2 buses, one at the Odyssey, one at Shaftesbury Square, minibuses travelling around the city. The problem that we've been creating actually is that when we find people that are in need in alleyways and streets and get them back to these buses where they're medically assessed, we then take them to the EDs, the emergency departments, and effectively we've been helping clog up the system. Long waiting times, it's like a war zone on a weekend. 80% of admittances today at the weekend is alcohol related. It's huge. Now we've realised that by creating a tool that would help divert people away from the ED, we would reduce pressure enormously. All you have to do is get the top 5% of troublemakers away from that, and suddenly the place is a different place. It helps doctors and nurses.
Look, I think this is a really great initiative, fantastic resource to have. The SOS Alcohol Recovery Centre bus, which is going to be operating over the busy Christmas period where a lot of people obviously go out for a good time. Some people unfortunately consume too much alcohol, need a bit of space to recover, to sober up. This provides that opportunity. It'll be located in the centre of Belfast. It'll have the volunteers working on it, but it's also well connected to the work of the Belfast Trust. So there are nurses here, there's a dedicated ambulance crew which will work alongside the bus, and that then helps to take pressure off the emergency departments, which aren't the appropriate place for somebody who just needs that space to sober up to go to, and that removes that pressure, a little bit of that pressure that those emergency departments will inevitably be under at this busy time of the year.
It's a crisis intervention service, so we all know that young people partake in alcohol and drugs, and sometimes they don't know their own limits, and if a dog's for life, what's a young person worth? So many years ago, 15 years ago, I started looking at the situation when my son got hurt, and I realised I wasn't happy, little knowing that 15 years later we'd be here today with these vehicles. But we've created something where mums and dads and grannies and granddads with 260 trained volunteers can come together in a safe environment, working together in teams on these buses, using minibuses to travel around the city to find people in need and care for them. So the goal here is to unconditionally care for people, expecting nothing in return, just to make sure that somebody that maybe could have died or would have suffered brutally, we stop 1-2 rapes every month, we stop suicides, we've prevented many types of assault. I mean, this is just powerful stuff.
I can honestly say that I've never come home and not sort of thought to myself, well, what would have happened, that fella, that girl, that couple, if we hadn't been there. So there is an amazing need, even just from time to time, signposting people to somewhere to stay, getting taxis, all that. And then we have the other where we're dealing with people who need medical care or who just need help to get home because they've got themselves into a state.
So we upskill our staff to protect them, to make them ready to be able to go on those streets. The truth is they're the most unique volunteers, working from 10 o'clock at night till 3 and 4 in the morning. What I can't do, and every one of them know this, I can't protect them from a spike. I can't protect them from a sudden attack. That's why these volunteers are so special. Knowing that they're putting themselves at risk, they're still prepared to go out there to care for everybody's children. I mean, I'm really proud of them.
We're concerned about, from a public health perspective, about the consumption of too many people consuming too much alcohol. Sometimes that manifests itself then in people obviously being drunk on the streets, and that can be a vulnerable place for people to be in that condition. And that's why having this bus, which provides that safe space for them to go to sober up, to get the help that they need. So if they do need some medical attention, minor medical attention, they can get that on the bus. I think it's a great thing. It's going to really help Belfast Trust and the hospitals in Belfast to relieve some of the pressure that they will be under.
This lifts out the way. See these covers listed up, but then the patients lie on there. You get blue light so they can sleep.
Yep. Okay.
This is all electric, so the nurses have. Now we can bring people here instead of to the emergency department. We've got 8 pods inside, 8 beds. We've got full showering facilities, so if they do soil themselves, we can wash them and clean them and care for them. Nurses on board, medics will be doing this, and then we can dress them in clean clothes and put them up for the night. Maybe get their parents to come and collect them the next day.
There certainly, we do come across some things when you go home and you really, it's quite upsetting. You sort of feel, thank goodness I'm not in that sort of state or frame of mind. But you're sitting on a Saturday night or a Friday night and it comes 9 o'clock and you sort of think to yourself, it's time I was getting ready. And if you look out, especially if it's a really bad night, there are nights where you sort of think, well, I wish I was just going to bed. But once you get out and you get stuck in, but it's the fact that, as I say, you never go home feeling that you may not physically yourself have helped somebody, but as part of the SOS team, there will be quite a number of people who have benefited from the help that we've provided.
From a strategic point of view, I think our children have become more a commodity, much more readily accessible through the internet, to be preyed upon by individuals from all sorts of backgrounds with their own intent. So we have new psychoactive substances, the legal highs as they're called, mostly from India and China, that come in. These kids are like lab rats. They haven't a clue what they're taking. People accuse us sometimes of pampering to the drunk. The truth is, I don't think that matters. I think the fact is we've taught our children that the mechanism between being young and adult is actually sex and drugs and alcohol. Human beings have always taken substances. You're not going to stop that. You're just not going to stop that. So rather, what we need to do is support our youngsters, create an environment of care. Zero tolerance doesn't work. Young people will always do what young people do. Our job, who was it? Aristotle, I think, said that, and so I'm talking 800 BC, he said the problem with young people today is the girls wear skirts are too short and they're very cheeky. People are people. So we just need to be there for them.